Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Franky Corcoran. We're here in October now. Hope you guys are enjoying the fall so far. And for those of you guys in Canada, Thanksgiving weekend is coming up. Actually coming up this weekend. So for those of you guys who are traveling in and out of town to whether your family lives away or you live away, whatever the case may be, safe travels, and, hope you guys enjoy the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend. Before we start today, I just want to announce, not really announce because I announced it on Facebook, but I just want to let everybody know who doesn't follow us on Facebook and stuff, that Humbug tickets are on sale now on Eventbrite. You can text or call if you're local, 1-506-624-3315, or whichever works for you. You don't necessarily have to be local or not far away or whatever. There's many different ways you can get it. They are on sale now. Follow us on Facebook, November 15th and 16th with a 2 p.m. matinee on the 16th, and then we also have two 7 p.m. shows on the 15th and 16th. Super excited. Everyone's working really hard, and I can't wait for everybody here to see it. So thank you for all the support from everybody so far, near and far. Mostly it's all near. We don't really have many people coming from out of town. But if you happen to be out of town and you want to enjoy a good Christmas show, Humbug's a great one. It's a great one. It's a nice little new take on A Christmas Carol. It's described as Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol with a modern twist, and that's the best way to describe it. So tickets are $20, guys, and just be sure to come support us. Before we start as well, I just want to say that Joker 2 is out. I haven't seen it yet. And so when I do see it, I do plan on seeing it. It was a busy weekend. For those of you guys who listen, Sean Doucette, one of our regulars, just got married. We were, busy week getting all that stuff rigged up. Huge congratulations to him. He was going to come on for our 150th, which is next week, but he will be away on his honeymoon when we record. So, but we got, great show and stuff like that planned for the 150, and I will do Joker fully. I do it whenever I see it. So once my schedule dies down a bit, I still plan to see it, and probably by the time I see it, I'm just going to go full spoilers. Normally, I normally like to do non-spoiler and then talk spoiler stuff later on. But by the time I see it, I think people, honestly, at this point, I'm seeing lots of leaks out. I'm trying to stay away from it, and we'll play it by ear. Maybe I'll see it soon. Who knows? Anyways, but that will be coming. I do plan to do that. So, anyways, moving on to the podcast today. My guest today is Brittany Mullin. She just started her own podcast centered around fitness called The Curve Era. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to your podcasts. Comes out the same day that this episode releases. So episode 1 is out now, but by the time you guys are listening to this, episode 2 is also out. So you can listen to hers first or mine first. Listen to hers first and boost the following up and stuff like that, and get the word out. I'm happy to promote it. And we talk about a lot of stuff about what inspired her to start her podcast, and a lot of stuff when it comes to mental health, physical health, and all that good stuff. So it's a great conversation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Later in the show, I want to talk about Johnny Depp, the chances that he will now be back as Jack Sparrow, because he now just recently visited a children's hospital dressed up as Jack Sparrow. And we're seeing people thinking maybe this means he's warming up to the idea of him coming back as Jack Sparrow. We'll find out, like in a Pirate 6, we'll discuss that. And also The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol, all leaked. It's all leaked now, and I won't spoil nothing, but I'll just talk about the whole circumstances of leaks in general. But anyways, guys, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's podcast. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Franky Corcoran, and today I am joined by a new fellow podcaster. She is the host of the brand new podcast, The Curve Era, which is basically a fitness podcast and covers a lot of, health, mental health, physical health, but fitness at its core. Brittany Mullin. Brittany, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on your podcast. This is really exciting to be here.
Yes, well, I appreciate you coming on. And first off, congratulations on the launch of your podcast. That at the time of this recording, it just launched today. So, big congratulations. How does it feel now that it's finally out there? You know, the podcast is there. People can listen to it. How does that make you feel?
It's very exciting. I hope if anybody that listens to it gains from it. So I'm really excited to have it out there now.
Definitely. So, what can you tell us about? I mean, I know about your podcast, but anybody listening might not know about it. What is the Curve Era?
So the curve era, the name itself comes from basically your fitness journey in general is not a linear path. It has a lot of curves and twists and turns and setbacks. So it's basically just about taking on the curves and running with them. It's more so about dealing with the setbacks, gaining your confidence, and really just jumping into the hard parts of life, and growing from them.
Okay, that's awesome, and that's something that I really don't, I haven't really listened to much of like fitness podcasts and stuff like that. I've never really listened to much of them, but there's something about yours where it also delves into the mental health aspect of it. Like, for me, I haven't gone to the gym. I mean, like, yeah, people look at me, yeah, I haven't gone to the gym, and it's been a few years just busy and stuff like that. I try to exercise as much as I can, walking and all that stuff like that. My goal is to hit 15,000 steps a day, and so far it seems to be working, but there's some days, good days and bad. But it's always the thing with fitness that always got me was the mental health aspect of it, because that's something that I'm a huge advocate for mental health. What like how would you describe like the mental health aspect of fitness? Because people hear fitness, they don't really think about mental health, but how important is mental health in fitness?
Oh, fitness and mental health go hand in hand. Like when you're going to the gym, when you're being active in general, it's just triggering your brain to release all those happy chemicals. So it can help a lot with dealing with stress and anxiety and things like that. But the other part of it is that when you go to the gym, you're really putting yourself into a place of discomfort and you're training your brain to deal with that discomfort on a daily basis. So not only is it going to help you deal with challenges in the gym, but it directly tracks how your brain deals with those challenges outside of the gym as well.
Okay, how did you deal with that? Like, whenever you started going to the gym and stuff, did you have all this anxiety and stuff like that when you first started?
When I first started the gym, I had a lot of anxiety about starting the gym. It took me a while to actually get in there and get going. But I do find, like, even on days that I go to the gym now and days that I don't go to the gym, there's a complete difference in my mood. I've never gone to the gym and thought, "Oh, I should have stayed home today," but there are definitely days that I wake up and I'm like, "Dang, I should have went to the gym this morning because today really sucks," and that just would have made today a lot easier.
No, definitely. Like we all, I mean, we all have those days though where we're like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all human at the end of the day, and that's just how it is. How do you motivate yourself if you're having those days?
Oh, I have a great support system. Which is another reason why I wanted to start this podcast is because I know a lot of people don't have the amazing support that I have. So I have a lot of friends I have a few friends that go to the gym with me. So if there's ever a day that I'm not really feeling like going to the gym, then I start thinking, oh, well, this person's going to be there. And if I'm not there, then they're going to be like, oh, where is she? Why didn't she come today? And then it just kind of gives you that extra step of accountability. And then knowing like you're not just going there to get in a good workout, you're going there and you're going to see your friends. It's just a motivating and a positive experience. So it just helps to kind of get you in gear and get you up and going.
It feels almost like a hangout some days with like some of your friends, like knowing, okay, it's almost like you're working a job that you like, but it's physically demanding, but it's the people that make it kind of thing. And the gym's kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, like it can be fun, but it's also a chore some days. But it's really at the end of the day the people who make it worthwhile, I think, really. Um, and there's so many like I still remember when I first started going to the gym. I went for about a good while actually. It was around like when COVID started, and it was so funny just trying to get into it because here I am. I don't really know what I'm doing, and then in my mind, I'm looking around and I'm sucking so bad because I look everywhere and I see the mirrors and I can see myself. I'm like, oh God, and then compare myself to others. How bad is comparison to others? Where you're like, oh well, so and so has this, and so looks like that, and they eat like this and they eat like that. Is that good or is that bad to constantly compare yourself to others and their fitness journey?
Well, it's definitely never good to compare yourself to others. The way I like to think about it is you don't know how long that person's been on that journey, and you don't know where they started out either. And the other thing is too is the first part of being in the gym is the best place to be because that's where you have the most opportunities to learn and the most opportunities to grow. When you first start out, nobody has any expectations of you. They don't expect you to walk into the gym and be able to bench press a crazy amount of weight or squat a crazy amount of weight. It's the perfect time for you to step in there and learn. And with the gym, everybody's so willing to help you out too and offer you like just little tips and proper form and things like that. So you don't really have to judge yourself compared to anybody else because everybody there is in the same boat. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, I should be lifting more, that person that you're watching lifting more is looking at the person beside him thinking, oh, I wish I could lift what that guy's lifting. So it's never about who's lifting what or who's able to do what. It's really, am I lifting more than I lifted last month? Or what is my goal and how can I get there? So it's really everybody in the gym community is just kind of sharing their progress together, which is a really kind of fun thing to see.
Well, that's good though. Like that's good. I mean, like you want no matter what you do, I always say this all the time. You're not going to please everybody, and I mean, like, not when you're going to the gym, you're not trying to please anybody else. You're just trying to maybe not please yourself, but you're just trying to, you know, stay healthy. You're trying to stay active and stuff like that, and that's really that's how I see it anyway. What can you tell me about like community play? If you're supporting people in their fitness journey, how important is that, and how big of a role does community play in people's journeys?
I personally think it plays a huge part in everybody's journey. I know it played a huge part in mine. I wouldn't have stayed at the gym if I didn't start the gym and meet the people that I had met there because they were so motivating and they gave me so many tips and tricks and try this and try that that just kind of really helped me and set a good foundation for what I know of the gym and what my goals were at the gym. And like I was saying earlier, just having a community adds a bit of accountability. It helps to motivate you, and you get a bit of emotional support on days that you're not feeling so great and you feel like maybe you should have lifted a little bit more or done a little bit more. And the other great thing about it too is that when you have a setback, it doesn't feel like such a big deal. Because when you're at the gym by yourself and you're seeing everybody lift heavy, sometimes you're thinking, wow, like look at that person. That person's lifting so much today. And then you know that person, you have a conversation with them and realize that they actually haven't gone up in weight a little bit. They're having a setback too. So when you reach that point, you know you're not the only person that's reaching that setback. You're not the only one that's having trouble with this. So it just kind of makes everything feel a little bit more achievable, especially when you see somebody lifting something crazy and then they tell you 3 months ago they were lifting what you're lifting right now. So it's a little bit more motivating that way too.
No, definitely, and in that way, comparison is. I mean, it's not something you should do, but then there's always a fine line. There's always a balance because you're like you don't want to compare yourself to them, but then also you can learn from them. So there's like many different angles to comparing yourself to others and all that. During your when did you start the whole fitness journey?
I've always like been a pretty active person. I played a lot of sports like growing up. I've never really not been active, but I've really jumped in the past 2 years of just getting in there and hunkering down at the gym and with running as well, and really just trying to get the most that I can out of my fitness journey.
Oh, okay, right on. Was there any particular do you have any kind of like setbacks or something like that? Like something that might have happened that at that point you might have been, oh crap, I can't believe that happened, or I can't believe I did this, I can't believe I did that. And how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I had actually pretty big setback with running last summer. I ended up with a pinched nerve in my hip. So at first I thought yeah, it wasn't fun. Um, so at first I was like, well, it only happens every so far, so I could probably still run a little bit. And I run until it hurt and then I stopped. But because I kept running on it, I just ended up making it worse and worse and worse. And then eventually I had to stop running altogether for a couple of months until it really leveled itself out, which was very frustrating for me because running is a big running I find is just really great for my mental health. It's really good for clearing my head and with stress. So just in that aspect, it was really hard to not run for so long. But then when I was able to get back into running, just the slow go back into running and not being able to just jump back in and run 10 kilometers again, having to go back to like only running 3 kilometers or only running like 1 kilometer until I could get back into it. It kind of just felt like I was restarting that whole journey. And all of the effort that I had put into getting where I was just completely set back. But at the same time, it helped me a little bit with my patience of getting back into running. It helped me with just reminding myself that recovery is really important and rest days are really important. And you have to listen to your body when you're in the gym or when you're running because you mentally might be able to handle something, but just because you think that you can do it doesn't necessarily mean that your body's in the same place that you're at. So you really do have to listen to it because it knows what it's talking about. And the other thing too is once I started running again, I got to hit all those small milestones again. So I got to celebrate all those small milestones again. So it was just kind of a fun way of reliving the start, but a little bit easier than before because this time I knew what I was doing.
Oh, okay. Well, there and it's good in a way, like when a lot of that stuff happens, it's so easy to let that take control. But like you didn't let that get to you. Like eventually you went back at it, like a pinched nerve, I'll get over it. You know what I mean? How did you get over the pinched nerve? Or did you end up getting
It
over
was
it? Do you still have a pinched nerve?
no, it's good now. Really, what it was a lot of like stretching and recovery movements, a little bit of like physio stuff like that, just to kind of stretch that area back out and kind of release the nerve. I guess is the best way to put it. But it did end up healing itself out, so I'm running again is full force. So it's pretty exciting.
God, like that's the worst. Like anything to do with like muscle pain and stuff like that is just, oh my God. I have back problems, and people just think, oh, like oh my God, you're only 25. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got my back acts up sometimes. What do you do when you hear people? Because I find it's always people will always see how old someone is. They hear that they have like back problems or leg problems. They're like, oh, come on, really? You're only young. What's your response to that?
Well, I think the best way to protect yourself in general is to gain a little bit of muscle. But in terms of like anyone having pains or injuries or anything like that, you want to definitely make sure that, like I said previously, you're listening to your body. So if you wanted to go to the gym and work out your back to try to gain some muscle and gain some strength back in that area, it may help to relieve some of your discomfort. Right now, I'm going to the gym with a girl named Cassidy, and she has some lower back pain as well. She goes to physio for it, and her doctor recommended that she build up some muscle in that area. So we have a back day routine that's geared around slowly, just very lightweight, higher reps, very just slowly adding on a little bit more weight time and time again, just to build up some of that muscle to help her with some of that discomfort. And so far, it's been going really well. So I'm really happy for her. She started coming to the gym with me about a month and a half ago now, and she's been really like comes every day, shows up. She's excited to be there. So it's been really great training with her.
And that's good. The motivation of wanting to be there versus I'm here just because I have to. Like I find when you go to the gym, it's kind of a mixture of both. It's like if I want to be healthy, I have to be here. If but then I also love being here. Uh, how do you see it? Is it like you love you love doing? I mean, like you obviously love doing it, but are there some days where it feels like it's a chore, and there's some days where you're like, why did I like you get to a certain point where you've made great progress and then you take one day off and you're like, oh crap, it's such a chore. I'm not going to do that today. But then you realize, oh crap, look at all the progress I made. How important is it to look at the progress when you're having those days?
Well, it is really important, but at the same time, listen to your body, because some, like, there are days where I get up and I'm just not feeling the gym, and there's a difference between I don't want to go today and I'm burnt out and I'm tired and I just don't have the energy to put in and my body needs a break. So I'm going to take a day today just to relax. It's not a scheduled rest day, but it is something that my body needs, and those are really important. But in terms of, I wake up and I look at my clock and I go, oh, I'm going to go back to sleep. I don't want to go to the gym today. Everybody has those days, but when you think about what your goal is, that's really your motivator of like, am I going to go back to bed or am I going to go work towards what I've been putting all this effort into? And I find that that is the biggest motivator is, this is my goal. This is what I want to reach. And am I going to show up for me today and take a step towards reaching that goal? Or am I going to go back to bed or sit on the couch or whatever I
Exactly,
feel like
because
doing that day?
I made it this far, but and so if I take one day, then I feel like I'm going back 10 steps and I don't want to do that, So like there's so many different ways to look at it. But going back to your podcast, The Curve Era, which is streaming now on Spotify, everywhere you listen to podcasts. At what point did you decide that a podcast was something that you wanted to try your hand at? Because I've done this, and many people have done this over the years, joking about, hey, we should start a podcast and this and that, and then it just doesn't happen. For you, is that kind of how it started? Is it one of those things you're like, I might start a podcast, and then 5 years later, here we are? Like, how was that journey for you?
Yeah. Well, for me, I guess really honestly what it is I have a friend, Jessica, and she's always telling me like, "Oh, you're so motivating," and she's saying like, she's just an absolute sweetheart. And one day she looked at me and she goes, "You know what? I was not a goal-oriented person until I met you, and now I'm such a goal-oriented person." And that was just, I thought, the biggest compliment. And then I was just talking about like with my therapist, because I go to therapy, about how like I just like helping people, because I wish that there was somebody who could say the things to me that I had said to them when I was going through a hard time or when I was not feeling like going to the gym and things like that. So I guess the podcast just kind of started as I wanted to be able to tell people the things that I wish somebody could have told me when I started my fitness journey or when I was ready to give up because I wasn't seeing the results I wanted and things like that. So, and
And that's
then
a
it
great
just kind
way.
of spiraled from there.
I find podcasts, I mean, you were just talking about therapy. Podcasting is great therapy. I find it really, really is, because it helps build your social skills. It helps build, if somebody wants to go off and study journalism, like that's a great way to start too. Um, like I even straight up tell people that too. I'm like journalism, hell, podcasting, that's a form of journalism, and it's a great form of journalism. I do it every week, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's is a kind of a bit surreal now that the podcast is out, that now you're kind of like this is real. You know what I mean? Like I actually did it. Like are there times where you're wondering, even like just seeing how far you are, because it's one of those moments where you dream so much and for so long about wanting something that once you have it, you kind of got to take a step back and go, I actually did that. Like how did you feel, not just for the podcast, but just for your whole fitness journey in general?
Oh, first to start with the podcast, it was crazy exciting. Launched, I uploaded last night because I wanted to make sure it was up for this morning because I didn't know if I was going to have issues uploading it or what was going to happen. And I was sitting there and I was like watching it upload and I was like so excited. I was like, no, I was like, I don't know how many listeners I'm gonna have, but even if one person listens and they kind of connect with it, like that is more than enough, because really that is the goal. But as far as the fitness journey goes, it is really surreal to like one day you're at the gym and you're moving a weight and you're like benching a weight and you're thinking, oh, this is pretty heavy, and then you look back and now today you're benching twice as much or moving 3 times as much. So it is insane. And it's like every single time you go up in weight, you get that little moment of like, yes, I did it. Or every time you're able to do an extra rep, it's like a little celebration. So every month or so, you get a little celebration somewhere at the gym and you get that little up in confidence of like, yeah, I did that. Like I didn't think I could do that, but I did it. So it works. And that confidence you get from the gym just kind of spills into every other aspect of your life. So it's pretty motivating just in that aspect alone.
Oh, 100%. It's just such, you feel proud of yourself, like you really, really do. And it's especially when you look at from where you started versus where you are now. If there's anybody listening who goes through self-doubt where they want to try something, but they're not sure, I want to go to the gym, but I just, mentally, my anxiety, I can't do it. What would you say to those people, given how far you've come in your journey? What would you say to those people?
The scariest part is always starting, because when you get started, you really don't know what to expect. You're worried that people are going to judge you, and you're not really sure how things are going to go. But I find the easiest way to deal with that is just to jump in. Like I made my gym membership, and the first day I went, I just walked on the treadmill. So it's jumping in with your membership and then taking baby steps after that. I started going to River City, and River City has a little room in the back. So once I got comfortable being in the gym environment and I was like, I'm going to start lifting weights now, I just kind of hung around in that back room just to get used to it and slowly kind of made my way out to the rest of the gym in the effort that I felt comfortable. Actually, there was a guy named Joey who was going to the gym, and I was hiding in the little back room of the gym, and he comes in and he's like, do you want help? And I was like, yes, please. And he ended up training me for a couple of months. And he was a really big motivator to get me out into the big part of the room. Again, building into that aspect of like your community. So it is a scary thing when to start anything new. But just kind of take it step by step and get yourself into it. And when it comes with dealing with self doubt, like I find a big part of that is people look at self-doubt like it's a stop, but it's not a stop. You can have doubt, but then still take that step forward and go. Um, I guess a big part of dealing with the self-doubt and is just making the commitment to show up for yourself. And just sorry,
No,
I
that's
kind of
okay.
lost
Yeah.
my train. I started talking and then I just lost my train of thought. I knew what I wanted to say, but then the words weren't going to come out of my mouth. So I guess the biggest thing for me was to set like small goals and then just be consistent in achieving those goals. Because when you think about it, like if you're constantly saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this," but then you never follow through, you're teaching your brain that you can't expect yourself to show up for you. So even if you set a small goal of I'm going to go and I'm going to spend half an hour at the gym just in the gym, eventually your brain and you start to realize like I can show up for me and I can do these things for me, and every single little thing you show up for yourself for just fights against your self-doubt until eventually you're realizing like, look at all the stuff that I did. Why can't I do that? And then all of a sudden you're just like, well, I can do anything. So I don't know why I need to doubt myself. And it gets like you kind of run with it after a while. It gets a little bit of momentum. Because the first time I stepped into the gym, I walked in there and I saw people lifting all the weights, and I was like, I do not belong here. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to lift that. And now from where I started at the gym, like I remember being excited when I could put 25 on either side of the bar and squat that. And now I've got like 2 plates on either side and I don't even think about it. So it is so it gets pretty exciting once you actually start making the commitment and showing up. But that's really what it takes is showing up for yourself to prove to yourself that you don't have to doubt yourself like that.
Just watch your pinch nerve. Don't pinch another nerve, because that's
Yeah. I'll have to keep a reminder for that because that really was not fun.
no, exactly. And was it Joey Gooden who trained you?
No, it was Joey Robichaux.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah.
say because I went to Peak and Joey, I think Joey goes to River City now. Joey, if you're listening to this, what gym do you go to now? And it's people like that too, like even Joey Good. Yeah, there's something about Joeys. There's all these Joeys
Yeah,
who are
they're
getting
just great
people.
guys.
Exactly, they're great
Yeah.
guys. And so there's always, as we said, community is a big part of it. People bringing you out of your shell and saying, okay, you started off in this room, come join us in this room. Like, like there's community is so important because then it also keeps you coming back to the gym, and it also keeps you motivated to want to keep coming back and stay healthy and be fit and all that stuff. So there's so many great things that have come out of it. And so first off, congratulations on the podcast, because that's a big step right there.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on the journey and everything that you've done. How would you compare yourself, just before we sign off, how would you compare yourself now versus way before you started working out? Like how proud of you are how proud of you are I'm all tongue tied. How proud are you of yourself for how far you've come? There, I don't know why that was so hard to say.
um it sounds kind of braggy when you say it like this, but like I am insanely proud when I look at the person that I was when I started my fitness journey versus the person that I am right now. They are two completely different people, like in personality, in like I just feel like I'm a stronger person, not even just physically, but just in who I am. I feel like the gym did a lot to show me that I am capable of more than I thought that I was. And I know, like, I don't put up with as much as I used to. I was a big people pleaser, and just being in the gym gave me the confidence to kind of stand up for myself a little bit more. And so it really is a complete 180. Even like when I started the gym versus now, like even in appearance wise, I look completely different in my opinion. But yeah, so it's just like comparing apples to oranges really at this point in terms of where I was versus where I am right now. So it's kind of crazy to think about.
No, well, and that's always the best when you're able to look back on it and you're like, these are two completely different people, and you feel great. You're healthy and everything, and just lots to be proud of. And there's nothing wrong. Uh, good friend of mine, Christian Potenza, says it's not bragging if you're actually doing it, and you're actually doing it. So that is very much the case. So, Brittany, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And feel free to do one last plug for the Curve Era. Where can people listen to it? When can they listen to it? And all that stuff.
Oh, you can listen to us on Spotify every single Tuesday. We'll upload new videos or new audios.
Perfect. So which one? So guys, which podcast do you listen to first on Tuesdays? This or Curve Era? I say Curve Era, but that because I don't listen to my own podcast, so I I listen to it during the editing, and then I don't listen to it again. So how are
You
you with that?
probably
Like because you editing your podcast, like did you have trouble like listening to your own voice, and you're like, oh my god, is that how I sound?
I never stop talking, and everybody's always like, "Oh my goodness, like you talk so much." And I never understood it until I started editing my audios, and then by the time I was done, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I really do not stop talking." And I find too, it was just the learning curve of using the sound editing software. I know that I still have a lot to like learn in terms of how to edit and stuff like that, but it was fun to just try to sit down and figure it out and kind of read some things about it and see how far I could go. But it's a work in progress.
No, exactly. You're learning, like me, learning the work by doing the work, which is, self-taught. That's
Yeah.
and some of the best people in whatever business they do are self-taught, and it's just a matter of how motivated you are, how dedicated you are, and I think you're on the right track. I really do. So thank you for coming on, guys. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back. But until then, this is Franky and Brittany Mullin signing off. Thank you, Brittany.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. That was me and Brittany Mullin. Guys, as we said, be sure to listen to The Curve Era every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to your podcasts. And thank you, Brittany, for coming on the show. Very excited to see where this new endeavor goes for you. Very, very excited. So moving on to the solo discussion topics today, I wanted to give my thoughts. I saw this really, really nice video that just came out of Johnny Depp, and basically he was visiting a children's hospital that was in Spain, I believe it was. Yeah, in Spain. And for those of you guys who haven't seen this or haven't heard of it, definitely be sure to go check it out. It's really, really good. Johnny Depp, just type in Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, hospital. You'll find something. He's done this a lot of times, like over the years, like over the course of the years. He would just show up at children's hospitals dressed as Jack Sparrow and interact with the kids, and he's always been great like that. Like he's always been a great role model and stuff like that for kids and all that. But this is now his first public appearance as Jack Sparrow since the whole Amber Heard, that whole trial situation. Of course, during that trial, he had said that he would never come back to do another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, just with feeling betrayed by how Disney just fired him without giving him a chance to explain himself or anything, which that's totally fair. I don't think anybody faults him for that. They had he trusted them, all that stuff, and then they just said no without any investigation, nothing like that. Boom, just fired him. And he even said even if they offer, I can't remember, I'm misquoting it for sure, but he said something like, if they offered me like $50 million, $100 million, I wouldn't come back. But then as time has went on, he of course won the trial, and his reputation has been revived to a certain degree. Like, I don't want to say restored, but it's been revived to a certain degree. He's getting work again. His name's back in the good graces of the audience who turned on him because of this. And then there was probably a good majority of the audience who was always on his side to begin with. But now, and I mean, like recently, Jerry Bruckheimer and all the people involved with Pirates of the Caribbean, they keep on softening their stance of, okay, he's, we're open to working with Johnny Depp again. And then, so it's kind of tricky. Like, I don't really know what the plan is. Like, if it's, it's real weird because they say, yeah, we're hoping to work with them again. And then they talk about that where they're not going to get him back again. So it's kind of back and forth. But I mean, what are you going to say in public? Someone asks you that in public, you're not going to say, fuck that, we're not working with them. You got to be somewhat diplomatic in your answers. But so just seeing this video of him showing up to a children's hospital in Spain, it's really, really nice. Be sure to go online and watch it. And it's really, really good to see him back as Jack Sparrow again, just after all that's happened, and that he's, to me, it seems to me like, now, the reason why I'm discussing this for a solo discussion topic today is because I've seen some people saying, oh, this means that he will come back for Pirates of the Caribbean, this and that. I still don't see it. I really don't. I really don't see this meaning that he's going to want to come back. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he will announce that he's coming back. I don't know. But to me, even still, even if they offered it to him, I don't think he would. He's been doing this for a long time. Not just Pirates movies, but like showing up to children's hospitals and stuff like that, and charity and all that stuff, dressed up as Jack Sparrow. He's been doing that for a long time. And I just think this is just him being him just being a good guy. He's had its faults over the years. I mean, like, here's the thing about Johnny Depp with that whole situation. Nobody in that situation behaved good. Johnny Depp certainly had his problems. Amber Heard did most of the bad stuff. But Johnny Depp he wasn't perfect by any means. Nobody was perfect in that situation, but we all fell more towards Johnny Depp's defense more than Amber Heard's, just in light of the evidence and stuff like that we'd seen. But basically, I wouldn't go by that and say that, yeah, this means that we're going to see Johnny Depp back. But no, I don't think so. And there's a difference between, I mean, like, we've seen Bill Murray do it. We've seen Bill Murray the whole history of Ghostbusters 3, the whole history of the trying to make Ghostbusters 3 was so comical they could have made a movie just about that. But Bill Murray was just, for years, I'll do it. No, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, I'll do it. No, I'm not going to do it. He would make appearances as the character and just never ended up happening. I think this is kind of a similar deal to that. I don't think he's going to want to go back to work for Disney, but when it comes to making kids happy and stuff like that, children who are sick, he will, bite his tongue, or maybe not bite his tongue. It probably wouldn't even take that, like, just to bite it. Like, I think it's just to me, it seems like he really does like Jack Sparrow. It's just he wouldn't want to work with Disney again after they fired him like that. To me, that's how I see it, is that he still has such a clear attachment to that. It's probably one of the biggest roles of the last 20 years in cinema. I think that's easy to say. So I wouldn't go by that. People, now, like I said, I could be wrong, but I don't think we're ever going to see him back as Jack Sparrow. I think we'll see him back in, appearances like this, but in terms of a Pirate 6, I don't see it. As much as, hey, I'd be down for it. I would be down for it, even, as much as Pirates of the Caribbean 5, it ended off on a good note. Maybe it's got one more, and I'm like, who knows? But if they do say he's coming back, I'll be glad, because I don't want to see a Pirates movie if he's not in it. But we'll see how that goes. But guys, definitely be sure to let me know your thoughts on that on social media. Do you think Johnny Depp is going to come back? Do you think he's done? I'm really curious to see what you guys all think. So be sure to let us know your thoughts. And sorry, I'm getting all parched. So our last solo discussion topic today is with regards to The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, the long-ass title that I don't like saying, but that's just the title of it. That's the title. I want to talk about, so of course, I did a non-spoiler review for the premiere last week. It was a pretty good episode. And I was really excited to see how the rest of the season panned out. 6 episodes in a season. Just watched them all. I just watched them all. Yeah, that's how it's crazy. And how Paramount Plus fucked up big time. And they released the entire season on Paramount Plus. Granted, they took it off, like, I think, if I had to guess, like 10 minutes afterwards. But by then it was too late. It just takes one person. They can just download it all and spread it around, and that's where I found it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy how this has gone down. Now, with a show like this, it's been a running problem with The Walking Dead for years, how they just cannot, for the love of God, keep spoilers locked down. I still remember back when the whole Negan, who did Negan kill cliffhanger came out, and it was like we found out like a month afterwards. Like, we had to wait 6 months for the actual episode to find out who he really killed, or to see who he killed. But we found out like a month after that cliffhanger aired that, yeah, it was Glenn and Abraham. So it was just leaks, and people were just trying so hard to get out. So like really, that show is notorious for letting things slip. Even them announcing that Andrew Lincoln was leaving before Rick's final episode wasn't a smart decision. I think it would have been better had they just not announced that he was leaving and just boom. But it is what it is now. He did end up coming back later. But so really, this is nothing new for the series. There have even been like fan websites and stuff like that just solely dedicated to spoilers. So it's nothing new. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Nothing new, but this I think this might be the first time in the show's history where it was leaked because somebody who's involved, or like maybe not necessarily involved with like production, but in terms of like distribution, somebody involved there fucked up big time, uploaded the whole season. Whoops, I'm gonna go fix that. Delete it. Too late. People have seen it and they've downloaded it. And so I'm just scrolling through TikTok and I'm just seeing all these, spoilers and this and that, and won't say nothing here. But so I just said, screw it. So I went on Instagram, and I just looked up, and there were literally just the episodes were just everywhere, full episodes on Instagram, and I just watched the whole season. Now it's funny because I've always given shit when it comes to doing that, where it's like people have worked so hard on the show and this and that. But for me, literally, I was just scrolling through TikTok, Instagram. It just pops up. You know what I mean? Like, once it's out, it's out. I think at this point, AMC should just say, you know what, people, it's already out there. Let's just release the whole season. It's not what they intended. But because it's even funny listening to YouTubers' predictions every week and saying like, oh, like they're talking about what's gonna happen next week. I'm thinking like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I literally feel like I'm involved with the production or something like that. I know what happens. But yeah, to me, it's a shame that it happened. It is, but it also makes me wonder now: are these shows better on a binge? Because I did have a great time genuinely watching season 2, like all in one. It was actually kind of fun. So, but at the same time, I do normally like how it is with these shows, watching it week to week. I still really, really like that. So to me, there's benefits of both. I'm more so here to just say, I by all means don't condone people like leaking it and stuff like that. And I don't blame so for the person who uploaded it onto Paramount Plus, the person who saw it, and blah, 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 and then people online who've seen it, watch it, I don't blame those people for watching it, because I did it too. Literally, it's right there. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not watch it? You know what I mean? Like, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah. Is it a shame? Absolutely. I'm sure somebody got fired for that, like guaranteed somebody lost their job or got a stern talking to or something like that. Cause yeah, no, that's not cool. But yeah, so it's a tricky situation, and it's so funny because I always complain about how they can't keep things under wraps, and then here I am watching it on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, maybe I guess I'm technically part of the problem, but at the same time, if it's there, I'm just gonna watch it. That's just how it is. So, anybody who is fan or who is a fan of the show, just I'm sure you've heard this already. Just stay off social media. Don't look. It's a pretty good season overall. I still think the first season's better. I personally think the first season's a little bit better, but season 2 is really, really good. It's I'll do like a big review for it when like when it actually like finally all airs in one, and like the finale scene, stuff like that. But yeah, it is a shame how it happened, but at the end of the day, what can you do? It gives me about a month or so to kind of get my thoughts together on the whole season, think about them, and then do the review from there. So definitely, guys, if you've seen it, be sure to let me know what you think about it. If you haven't seen it, just stay off social media. I'd still like to hear like people's predictions and stuff like that, because like I said, it's so funny watching these people predict on YouTube and Reddit and stuff like that. I think this is gonna happen. I'm like, no, it's not. Or yes, they got that right. Kind of funny how it works. So anyways, guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts on social media. And we're going to call it for the show there today, guys. I want to thank my guest, Brittany Mullin. Guys, be sure to listen to the Curve Era podcast every Tuesday on everywhere you listen to your podcast. And be sure to also listen to mine too. But also, also seriously, guys, be sure to leave a 5-star review, show some support for her, and just spread the word around. Thank you guys so much. Get your tickets for Humbug online. Follow us on social media and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next week. Until then, this is Franky signing off. Have a great week, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody as we are coming up on the long weekend. Safe travels to all of you, and happy Thanksgiving. See you guys.